have some cookies, some coffee for you.
Thank you.
For me, a lot of coffee for me. Some water. How was yesterday?
Yesterday was cool.
Yeah.
It was like first time I think I've been to someone else's house than yours on a leather party.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we went to Eric's Leather Glug
Yeah.
for glue wine and gingerbread cookies.
So I had glögg before, but never with almonds and raisins.
Sure.
Which is why they are added there?
I mean, don't ask me that.
But like, is
it's
it
just delicious is all.
But like, is it giving some more taste for the glögg, or it's to eat them after?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it hasn't. Don't question me on my own goddamn podcast. I love going to Eric's. He did it last year as well, Christmas leather event at his place, and I just love the contrast of all these geared up, uniformed leather folks in a turn of the century apartment with those big windows in central Stockholm. It's very, and he's got the old timey Christmas music in the background and. He's got a beautiful place. Yes. Or they do, Nick and Eric.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we went to SLM for Club Berlin.
Yes.
Which is leather and rubber night, for those that don't know.
Well, yeah.
Well.
Well, is it?
The dress code might not have been at its best last night. But we had a good time. We met a lot of folks we knew there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But about dress code is a bit confusing sometimes.
Maybe not the most consistent.
Yeah. Like I had my boots, my vest, belt, and your leg harness that I borrowed.
Oh, right. You. Yeah.
And I was still like, am I gonna get in? Because of one time when there were complaints that we
because we've been rejected like that before. Yeah. At the door.
And then we found a lot of people there just in an underwear, which is cool, but maybe not for Club Berlin.
Yeah. It's inconsistent, exactly. The dress code. It's really good that we have an old guardy club that enforces a dress code. It may seem a little weird and exclusive, but the reason we have a dress code is to make sure that everybody in this space are there for the right reason. They're in the scene. They know what goes on in the scene. They're tolerant of the scene and so forth, that we don't get people in there that are looking for something else than the scene. So I think it's good that we have it, but it's of course difficult. Because technically, given that the purpose is letting the right people in, you have people in that line that are not following the dress code at all that should be in there because they're in the scene. Yeah. They're just not wearing the right outfit or whatever. And we could have people in that line that are wearing like head to toe leather that are not really in the scene. I mean, it could be technically. So it's tricky. I mean, it's hard to enforce.
Yeah, but like the point is that I'm all for people going to SLM just to fuck. Like, why not? But in events like Berlin, there are times for different things.
Right.
And like where there is an event that should be a little bit more strict with dress code, I think it should be followed, because this can also just like people will not want to come when they will know they will not enjoy it because they are going there for the scene and the scene is not there. They will try once, they will try twice, and then they will stop coming. And of course we can have events when people are going there not for the scene, just for fun, just to fuck, go to the darkroom, that's completely fine. But I think it would be beneficial for the club to just make this work the way it should. Let's have an event for this and let's have an event for that.
I think a good way of putting it is like a leather club is obviously a sex positive space.
Yeah.
Like it would be an oxymoron to be a leather club and a sex negative space, I think. But people should be coming to SLM for leather sex. There are cruising clubs for just plain sex. So I think the distinguishing factor really isn't whether or not you're going there just to get plowed or whatever, but that you are in the scene.
Yes and no. Like, look, my first event in SLM was a naked night, because
that brings us to the first subject, which is what was your first leather bar?
Yes.
Which
yes.
I guess is this your first?
Yes.
Was that your first leather bar, SLM?
Yes, it was. But at the time, I wasn't aware that it's a leather bar. I was just invited there by a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, there is a naked night. Wanna join?" And I joined.
Yeah. So you stumbled into the leather scene.
Exactly. Like I would never go as the first time to SLM for some leather event because like I wasn't aware about the scene. I wasn't aware about like dress code. I wasn't aware about like I didn't have any gear. I didn't have anything, right? So I went to SLM. I met some people. I went there for non-leather event. At the time, my self-esteem was like kind of like low. So I went there. I met people. It boosted my confidence incredibly.
Really, yeah.
And that's what allowed me to start joining the scene later on. So like that's why I'm not saying that SLM should be strictly just for like leather sex, just for leather guys. Like it's okay to be a leather club.
Sure.
And like not follow the leather strictly.
Sure.
But just let's not forget about what it is, but allow others. But like when there are events like exactly like Club Berlin, it should be more focused on leather and everything. Like because keeping it open, like allowing people in that are not on the scene, can bring them to the scene because they will went there for non-scene event. They will like it and then they will start coming for more.
Yeah, I get that's a good way of putting it. There are the open house nights that are open to non-members and so forth. I guess when I say leather sex and leather club and leather space, a naked night falls under that.
Yeah.
What makes a scene are the people in it. And when I say leather sex, I don't mean sex that literally has leather in it. I just mean that I think there's a difference between a regular cruising bar and a leather bar because they attract wildly different people that have different attitudes to there are different terms of how they're sex positive, how their attitudes are to radical sex or, you know, polyamory, stuff like that. Things that we find in the scene. That's all I mean. A naked night to me at SLMs does sound like a leather night. I don't mean leather literally. I just mean...
Yeah.
But that's very interesting. So you stumble into a leather club for a naked night and it's SLM. So you can't help but notice that there's Tommy Finland on the walls, right? And all these leather attributes. So what was your first impression of the leather scene?
I didn't notice a thing.
You didn't notice a thing?
No.
I guess it's pretty packed during naked night.
Yes, it was, and I haven't went there in discovering a scene mindset. I went there because I was lonely and I wanted to find some company, have some fun, and I wasn't focusing at all at the time. But then, of course, like, I met some people, then I started going there more often, not only for naked nights, also to have a beer, to like just talk with people, to like meet people. And that's when actually I started noticing and also met people from the scene that after that drawn me into the scene a little bit more. But it wasn't like, oh, I came here and it's a leather pub, leather place. It was more like, oh, okay, new place.
Yesterday, we both went to Club Berlin, which is usually, anyway, the strict rubber and leather night. Yeah. When you don't get in unless you're wearing, or that's how it usually is. Not necessarily head to toe, but at least top and bottom leather or rubber. So obviously you've done a journey where you've acquired a bunch of gear and stuff. Yeah. So how has your impression of the scene or what the scene is changed since then?
The Naked Night wasn't a scene event for me. I went there because I wanted to meet people and have sex. And I went there and I was like, okay, I will go and I will probably end up on an orgy. And that's kind of what happened. I was I was a little bit on the side with this, I think. But I wasn't considering it as a scene because I didn't have any experience with any scene.
But do you consider it a scene now?
Yes. I can say that like my journey of discovering the world of fetish started there, but like it wasn't intentional.
Sure.
I happened to be there. After that, I started meeting people, seeing people from a scene, and this kind of started the journey, not like the first event that was this fucking.
When did you start feeling like it was a scene?
I think I can say that it was the first leather social that I went
to. The leather social?
Yes.
That's not at SLM, that's outside SLM.
My first leather social was a Sidetrack.
Yeah.
And the only leather thing I had was cock ring on my wrist.
On your wrist?
Yes.
Well, it is sidetrack. It is not SLM after all.
Yeah, but like that was the only gear I had at the time. And like it was a very interesting experience.
What do you mean?
I mean, leather social is in general interesting event.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you heard.
I've heard about it.
Yeah. So like I went there, like, and it was kind of shocking for me, like, to see so many people in gear. Like, you need to understand my background. I was in a very long relationship that wasn't involving anything interesting. And like I never stumbled upon any scene before.
Mm-hmm.
I started discovering the world when the world of fetish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stumbled into the leather scene at this underwear night that at the time wasn't a leather scene to you.
Yeah.
But the community you found then grew and then culminated in you sort of formally entering the leather scene with the Stockholm Leather Social.
Yeah.
And then we actually were part of this gang that all went to the first ever Helsinki Leather Social together.
Yes, that's right. Somehow I ended up from going to first in my life the Stockholm Leather Social with a cock ring on my wrist to end up in first Helsinki Leather Social with a little bit more.
With a little bit more. And how was the Helsinki Leather Social?
I liked how open it was, like how even though I went there without knowing anyone from the Helsinki scene, I just ended up talking with almost everybody. Just like I knew them for quite some time, at least.
I totally see what you're saying, because it totally felt like we're part of the same scene, so the gap was bridged immediately.
Exactly.
You just show up there, and it's like you've been there before.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know anyone from Helsinki. It came out that I was already we were actually following each other with one guy from there on Instagram, and we talked for I don't know half an hour, and then like, oh, maybe we should exchange Instagrams. I'm like, oh, we are actually following each other already. And like we never talked before, but yeah, it was fun. And actually I'm mistaken because I met Jussi.
Yeah, Jussi was
before
there. Jussi played the first Stockholm Leather Social XXL,
Yeah.
which is the collab event we do with SLM.
Yes. The one that I was the poster guy.
Oh, you were on the poster. Yes, that's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
And Jussi was a DJ, and so I knew him.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit, so I knew him from
That's right.
Helsinki.
I was impressed with how many people they had for the first one. Because I remember when we had the first Stockholm Leather Social 2 years ago now, we were 6 people. Yeah. How many were they? Close to 50? It was big.
Yeah, it was big. The only thing is that I think, if I remember correctly, the difference also is that there is a lot of guys with actually like a full gear, where in Stockholm Leather Social, it feels like it's more... Like, of course, we also have a lot of guys in a full gear and stuff, but also there is a lot of guys that are like me at the beginning with the cock ring on their wrist.
There was a lot of uniform at the Helsinki Leather
Yes.
Social. At
Yes.
the Stockholm Leather Social, there's a lot of puppies and a lot of...
Yeah, but also like it was the first leather social in Helsinki, right? So like I don't think we can already say like,
Oh God,
how
no.
it will look in the future. And I mean I wasn't at them from the beginning joining the Stockholm Leather Social, so I don't know how it was before. But I think good thing about that kind of events is that it can help people, like it can be very inclusive and like not put this border between people that don't have gear.
They had a really welcoming vibe though at the
Yes,
Helsinki one,
exactly.
and I'm really impressed. It seems like their scene really came through and showed up, which is really cool. So I'm definitely going to try to go again.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and the next one is the 18th of January, I think. So anybody interested in going should check out their Instagram at Leather Social Helsinki. Yeah.
It was a very cool event in a very cool city. It was my first time in Helsinki as well.
You like the city as a whole?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Helsinki.
Yes, and I thought that Stockholm is a calm city. Like, it's a huge city, of course. And like I felt, coming from Poland, I felt like Stockholm is a very calm city. And then I went to Helsinki and I loved this. It's amazing.
Yeah. I loved how after the Helsinki Leather Social at Room Boulevard, we did this sort of impromptu second social at Hesburger,
Yes.
which is their local burger joint.
Totally. Like that was amazing actually.
That was incredible.
Yes.
We put a bunch of tables together to form this long table, and everybody sat around in all gear, shocking the residents of this district.
Well, was it shocking?
I think it was kind of shocking.
We had some people that were staring and didn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
But well.
Yeah, the guard was very curious, the security guard they had.
But in general, it was very cool. It was fun experience to just end up in Hesburger and with a bunch of leather guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You even bought some gear in Helsinki, right?
Yes, I found a leather pants for, I don't know, 17 euro.
Yeah. You thrifted leathers.
Yes, that are too small, tiny bit, but I will work them out.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this just yesterday at the leather glug event, where this guy was saying how the way you get the best fit out of leather pants is that you buy pants you can't even close, and then you basically lie down on your bed or any flat surface, I guess, and you pull them on, and that's the only way you can button them up, and then you wear them while sleeping, and after a week you're gonna have the best fitting leather pants. That's what he said.
Okay, I mean...
Personally, I'll go with tailoring.
Yeah. I will probably clean my apartment in those pants a couple times to check if they will stretch a little bit. But in general, they are very comfortable everywhere except my waist.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
But you've been really lucky in thrifting leathers, because you've got a thrifted vest. You thrifted that belt from Lennart, friend of the pod, and you thrifted the pants. You even thrifted some boots. Tell me about that.
I think I don't have to tell you anything about those.
Tell our listeners about that, because I am furious.
Yeah. You send them to me on, what's it called? Tradera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Swedish eBay.
Yeah, and you send a link to me. I'm angry that it's not your size. And I'm not sure you actually were thinking that it's my size. I think you were just angry that it's not yours.
No, I knew it was your size.
And then I was like, oh, but it's mine. And it's 1,400 crowns.
I guess I sort of didn't want you to really... I didn't tell you these are your size because I was so frustrated about them not being mine. But I knew they were... your size.
Yeah. And they were 1,400.
We're talking about Wesco Jobmasters.
Yes.
For how much?
1,400 crowns. Yeah.
Which is 120 euros.
Yes.
That is crazy. Yeah. And they're in such good... I'm so jealous of those boots.
Yeah, they just need blacking, so...
Yeah, oh... Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I can't wait. You're saying that for a very long time now.
Yeah. Oh God, I am so jealous of those boots.
Yeah. They are amazing. And also when they arrived, they had this additional sole in them, and I think it was before the social XXL. We had pre-drink here at your place.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it was before...
You brought them to the pre-drink before XXL.
Yes, yes, because I actually received.
And we were all worshipping these boots on my kitchen table. Yes. So you put them up, and you bought them for how much?
Yes. And I tried them on, and they were too small. But I was I need to use them, and I spent all night in them, and then I realized that they have this additional sole.
Oh yeah.
And after I taken this out, it was I love them. They are.
I don't get why people put those in. The whole point about leather boots is that the insole compresses to the shape of your foot.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand because after I'd taken it out, I saw the...
Oh, you saw the nails?
Nails, yeah. It can be scary. I was okay, I will just try. Maybe I will not feel those nails on my feet, and I don't.
Yeah. But, I mean, they're just pressing up through the sock liner.
Yeah. But if I would not try, I would just assume, oh, yeah, I can't wear those without some additional sole.
Sure. They're beautiful. You also managed to thrift tough gloves. Come to think of it.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And I think twice. Yes. I managed to buy it, to treat them twice.
Yeah, you've saved so much money. The cool thing about vintage gear like that is that you get the best kind of gear for a fraction of the money. It's crazy.
I mean, the gloves. Like, I bought the first time I bought the gloves and they were tiny. No, I didn't treated them at this time. I bought them from Rob.
Oh yeah, you did.
And they arrived and they were too small.
You bought a size too small.
Yes. So then I sold them on the SLM market, actually.
Yeah.
And then I bought one from Second Skin, I think.
Right.
Yes, the ones that I have right now.
Yeah, Second Skin is a second-hand leather site for fetish gear.
Yeah. And from there I have also my belt.
Right.
From
Lennart. I wholly planned to get him on this thing.
Yeah.
The moment I published the first episode, he was like, "Bitch, when am I getting on the pod?"
Yes, you should. But I have my gloves and belt from Second Skin.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your next gear purchase? You obviously like leather.
Yes. It's a little bit strange because like I wasn't planning on. So I think it's hard to plan when I am not planning to buy a new gear, I would say. I mean, of course, like at some point maybe. I think my first piece of gear, like that after this cock ring, already mentioned way too many times.
Mentioned in the pod.
The one that is too small for my cock. I think everybody knows this story though.
I'm not sure. Would you care to enlighten us?
No, it's a running story why I have a cock ring on my wrist, and I'm always joking that it's too small for my dick.
Jeez. Okay, well, you heard it here first. So Wednesday, they're going to announce the nominations for the Gay Gala, and this year, we, as in the Stockholm Leather Social, have been proposed or suggested for nominations on their website for 2 categories: the best event or best club, and keep up the good work, which is their volunteering activist category. Do you think we're gonna get nominated?
Really hope so, because we and you really deserve that. It's an amazing event and amazing keep up the good work person.
Well, thank you, but don't you think QX runs the Gay Gala, which is going to be aired on public service this year, which is really cool. That's how it used to be, apparently. But they lean, while they're a gay magazine, a queer magazine, they definitely lean more into the entertainment side of things. Don't you think the Leather Social is a bit? Don't you think they're a bit too mainstream for being associated with the Leather Social?
I think they are, but I think they also should consider turning a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a feeling that QX is they are a little bit too mainstream, and because of that, they are not as supportive for the community as I would expect from gay magazine.
Right.
And that's why I would love to see them turning a little bit to support more scenes, not just leather scene, but in general.
Yeah.
Not just to not end up with sweater gay
stuff.
Sweater gay magazine.
Yeah. I mean, we might get positively surprised. I mean, I thought sort of the same about RFSL, and they awarded us Regnbågspriset during this year's Pride. So maybe we will get nominated. I mean, I haven't been platforming the Gay Gala nominations at all, or encourage people to vote or anything, because I think that would be kind of gosh. But
I did my best.
Yeah, but I
was working on that.
You know, folks that have been getting in touch saying that they have nominated us, or in the chats encouraging people to do so, that is really touching. And I mean, that sort of vocal support from the community saying how much the event means for them and everything, and how much the Stockholm leather scene does for the overall scene is really heartwarming. And I think the most important thing about all this, the nominations themselves are secondary, really. So that I think our scene is so goddamn wholesome sometimes.
Yeah, I think that events like Leather Social, they should be promoted Not because like it's not just a meeting for people to have a beer and have fun. It's also something that is making the entire community visible. Doesn't have to be shocking to make us as a part of society. So like straight people can actually, next time when they will see two guys kissing, two guys holding hands, they will not scream at them. They will be just like, oh, cool, that's normal.
We keep coming back to, even in the last episode, we keep coming back to queer visibility a lot. I guess that's something we speak about in our circles.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, for me, when like I come from Poland, so like Stockholm felt like heaven. Like, oh, like it's so cool. I don't need to hide. I can be just myself. And I never felt that in Poland.
Right.
Like, yeah, like hearing stories that are happening. It feels like Stockholm is becoming worse in that matter.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important that we will become more visible, and we will not become more visible with sweater gaze.
It was really troublesome yesterday at the leather event, hearing one of the guys talk about how he's heard that a number of people, like not just one, but a number of people have been gay bashed leaving SLM recently.
Yeah.
That is really disencouraging. We were talking about how, so Far Right Watchdog Expo, they published their magazine earlier this week, and they were saying how the neo-Nazi skinhead is back. The 90s skinhead, like fascist, is back. They didn't mention gay bashing as a phenomenon being back, but they said that the neo-Nazi skinhead phenomenon is back in Stockholm and has been becoming a thing in the past 2 years. And that is really disencouraging.
Yeah. I'm not scared. I'm more worried that I will have to defend myself or my friends at some point, because it's a huge disappointment when I had so high hopes for Stockholm as a city, for allowing me to be myself, and like I'm not gonna drop this. Like if I will have to, I will fight for that. It's not something that I like. It's my home right now.
I think it's a real bummer that in the winter time it gets cold enough here that we can't be on our patios that we love so much. Because in the summertime, one of the main driving force behind the Stockholm Leather Social is increasing queer visibility just by being on patios and in the street. And in the wintertime, we're sort of relegated to these indoor locales where we're, sure, we may be visible in the sense that we're visible to non-queer folks and just the regular queer, the normie queer scene.
Yeah.
But we're not visible in the true sense of the word. And that's a bummer in the wintertime, because the leather scene really comes to life in the summertime here.
Yeah, but at the same time, well, there's nothing happening. Like, of course, it's a bummer that like we can't be outside, we can't be that visible. But at the same time, let's be honest, nothing is visible in Stockholm during winter. Like,
no
everybody's just closing themselves in houses. And
So where would you like the social to be? Like a bar in town?
No, I would like it to be on the street.
On the street?
Yes.
Like literally not at a bar, but in the street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is complicated in Sweden.
We have prohibitive alcohol laws and stuff like that, regulations.
But I still think that is doable, especially in the neighborhood here, because like there are bars around. We can just hang out on the street and like grab a beer from the bar, I guess. Of course, and drink this beer in the patio, for example, during summer, of course. But in general, I think, I mean, maybe the leather social is not yet there, like because of the amount of like crowd that we have, and like people may be discouraged a little bit if they will be like, oh, we're not going to the bar. So I think
you mean if we're not going to a queer bar?
Yes. But I think that would be something that would make a big impact.
Yeah. That'd be really cool. Yeah. You won't be surprised when I say I do have plans for that this summer. But just doing it in the street. I think that the problem that can happen is if we just ask people to show up. So in the neighborhood here, there is a street that in the summertime is closed off to traffic, and it's just the most amazing place on this island, I think. I spent a lot of time there in summer, and I think if we just gang up there and have the leather social in the street, that'd be awesome. Because of our prohibitive alcohol regulations in the city, you can't bring strong alcohol, even beer, out into the street like that. So you're going to either have to have weaker alcohol or encourage people to be very discreet. Otherwise, we might run into problems with the cops.
Yeah.
Which I guess, I don't know what the worst thing that could happen is. I guess we could get fined.
Yeah.
Probably me.
It's strange how you're smiling when you're saying that.
I mean, if the cops would show up, that would be such a success, honestly. I mean, I'd pay good money for that. If the cops shut down the Stockholm Leather Social, that would be sort of like a badge of honor, honestly. So I would love to pursue that.
You would end up like the picture of my mother screaming when my father is arrested on the protests in Poland.
I mean, it wouldn't be that pretty.
I would just take a picture of you and you're just.
And I definitely don't think they'd arrest us. There'd be more like, it's time to go home.
But it feels like your dream.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So I'm looking at the time right now, and we have a few minutes left. Is there anything you think we should talk about?
Have you ever bought some vintage gear?
Yeah, I bought plenty. I thrift a lot. It's a hobby of mine. As for the uniform, I've thrifted my Wesco boots. Just like you, I've thrifted Wesco boots. I paid 1,700 for mine, which is like 150 euros or so, which is insane as well. But you got yours even cheaper, and that's ridiculous. So I thrifted my Wesco boots. I bought those at 118 Second Leather in Stockholm, which is this incredible vintage leather shop. She only sells vintage leather. She has a tremendous amount of jackets, mostly. So if you want your shot jackets or whatever, you go there. But she also does a lot of boots and even some vests and pants and stuff like that. And I came in there, and she told me when I bought them, she was like, the moment you walked in here, I knew you were going to buy the biggest boots in the house. And she said the man that owned those boots had so much nice leathers. So I think they were donated to her, but by somebody who was in the scene. I don't know who it is. He's been wearing them while riding a motorcycle, which is very clear because he's kicked them off and stuff. And they're in great condition, but they're scuffed up in just the right spots, and I love that. But I think that's the only thing I've thrifted in terms of my uniform.
Okay.
But otherwise, I mean, half the stuff in this apartment is thrifted. This microphone is thrifted. So yeah. But no, only the Wesco boots. So we have that in common.
Yeah.
Gosh, I want these. I'm so jealous of your Wesco boots.
Well, easy boy. Soon you will have your new whites.
My white loggers, yeah. I ordered these white smoke jumpers that the organizer of the Helsinki Leather Social that I've gotten to know is kind enough to help me import from the US. So they're going to be sent to his friend in Georgia and sent back to him in Helsinki. And then I'm going to go to Helsinki to pick them up probably sometime in April or so. And hopefully I can make that overlap with the Helsinki Leather Social. That'd be so cool to visit those folks again. Yeah.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. Okay, well, this was fun. How about we settle for this and then enjoy some gingerbread cookies, maybe fire up the sauna. I don't know.
Oh, sounds cool.
Okay.